What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one and the only. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's going on, man?
I believe I can actually mention it now. I'm the resident Hellsinger on the team here, and likewise, I've played some Hellsinger, and we just now have a video up. A review if you're curious about the game at all, or if you like metal, check that one out.
Absolutely. They can check that out over on ITG on YouTube, where they can also be joining us live just like they can right now, as well over on Twitch at the official ITG on Twitch. But if you can't join us live, make sure it hits up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services to TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, we got a loaded show today, dude. There's a lot to talk about because Ubisoft decided to have a showcase for an hour and a half.
Yeah, nobody seemingly knew how long it was going to be, but we're 45 minutes in. We're going, okay, well, how long is this? But
still going.
We'll get to that point. 45 minutes in was a memorable moment.
Oh, yeah. That's dude. Okay, first of all, first impressions. What's your overall, what's your overall impression of the Ubisoft Forward Showcase?
Well, overall, without getting into detail too much yet, it was interesting. There was certainly some stuff there for everybody. I'm not sure if that excited me exactly, but it was kind of paced a little bit slowly. And we didn't really see a whole lot of new things. It was basically a lot of what we already knew was coming down. But then when we hit towards the tail end, that's where I got really excited.
Well, that was the thing, dude. Okay, so there's two parts to the showcase. One, everything we already knew about that Ubisoft's working on, and then two, a whole Assassin's Creed showcase within itself.
Yeah.
They could have literally taken the chunk out of Assassin's Creed and done their own showcase. And I think that would have been a much better approach, in my opinion. And
I feel like they put the two together.
Well.
They put the two together in an effort to raise the average, but I think it lowered it really.
Absolutely. I think it did kind of hinder the experience because, like you said, we knew about everything. Dude, they started off with Mario plus Rabbids coming out on October 20th. The big feature to there, though, is that, dude, I'm going to skim through all this because, again, we already know about all this stuff, right? That's the biggest thing. I want to get to the stuff we don't know and can really kind of dive in and dissect. But, yeah, Mario plus Rabbids, Rayman is coming to the game. So that was a big bonus, I think, for them to be able to talk about and finally announce.
I thought Rayman and the Rabbids were always together.
No, this is a first, apparently, according to the showcase.
It's a one blind spot with me, really, Rayman.
Yeah, me too. It was never one that kind of gravitated towards myself. From there, again, we got back into Skull and Bones, Scott. I know they're pushing that, with good reason. They have to. I think they really need to showcase that. They also brought up the point that you can turn off PvP. So if you want to play PvE only, you can play PvE only, which I thought is a bit of a unique twist because when you play Sea of Thieves, dude, you cannot turn that off, right? And the community's asked for it, and Rare's like, nope, this is a pirate game. This is kind of how it's done. So I get it, right?
My experience with Elite Dangerous is you cannot turn that off. That's such a key part in the interpersonal battles. And there's a private server you can run, but then again, there's kind of extra steps in there, and it's not quite the same. The idea that you can just turn off PvP with a switch, but you remain in the same world with everybody. I like that because that means you and I can still play together. I'll be your enforcer, but
dude,
you have a little bit of a vest on.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. I'm excited to play Skull and Bones. I really want to dive in. I want to see how far they can take me. There's a lot of post-launch content coming down the way. If it's anything like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we'll be here for a while. So there'll be lots to talk about, hopefully, in the future of how that looks, what that's going to look like, and so forth.
You gave me the thought now. Is there going to be 300 plus hours of content in this game?
Well,
maybe not at launch, but not at launch,
dude. I think we've talked about it in the past how the developers are actually a little bit nervous about the amount of content that's in the game. It's going to keep the community alive, and at this point, they should have already 4 years of content created. So I don't know. We'll see. But we're
considering the massive length of development. I hope so.
Yeah, right. Like that's what I'm kind of basing it off of. But it doesn't sound like they do, and that makes me real nervous. I think we're gonna get in, feel real good, and then when we get to that end game content, kind of like a la Anthem, we're just out,
Oh.
right? So that's kind of what I'm a little afraid about. Yeah, we also saw season 4
destroy the Black Pearl again and again. And again.
Well, that's the problem, man. It's a games of service model. You got to have the content to bring to the table, and if Skull and Bones doesn't have it, dude, they won't hold a candle towards Sea of Thieves at all. Right, like that's your biggest competitor, is trying to pull some of that audience out from a cartoonish experience to a more realistic, gritty kind of look. But again, even by looking at the game, I still feel like I'm playing a Black Flag title. Maybe it looks different when I get it on my actual TV. But as of right now, for me, I'm like, yo, I played Black Flag a long time ago. Absolutely loved it. One of my favorite Assassin's Creed games. But at the same time, it still looks like it's sitting in that timepiece, and I'm a little nervous about it.
Your call out, I believe you said, this looks like PlayStation 4, which at the moment doesn't date it too far back. But
it doesn't.
It's not
But
not quite that next gen that we're looking for.
Well, we've also seen Ubisoft really advance a lot of their games as well, right? Up-res to 4K to come to next gen. So you get the little Series X and S logo in the bottom corner to say, hey, this has now been adjusted for next gen consoles. So hopefully that's already here. But Scott, let's get into...
I do have a Series X. I'm hoping to take advantage of that.
Me too, right? That's the biggest thing. Riders Republic Season 4 content. Dude, that looked cool.
Yeah.
I might just download it again. I took it off because I needed space. But yo, I'm like this close to putting it back on.
I really like Riders Republic, and I'm really happy that they're still adding stuff as it goes on. Season 4, I wasn't aware we were this far down the line, but
nuts. Just
more content on there. I'm gonna eat it up.
Dude, talk about more seasons. The Division 2 coming with season 10 and 11. Yo, this is getting into the Division year 5. Just more and more content for the Division. This is how it's done right. Massive entertainment over there, taking care of the community and just pumping out more content and keeping them engaged. That's what everybody struggles with these kind of games, and yet Massive's found a formula that seems to be working for them. And I'm very excited to see what they can do to keep bringing out more and more content for everybody to stay alive in that game. And again, it's one of those things, dude, do I jump back in? Am I too little, too late? Am I out? I honestly felt like I was doing the same thing. Oh, here's another wave of targets. But Assassin's Creed is the same thing in a sense, but I have a lot of fun doing that too. So,
actually, you just described Hitman. Every single one.
Hitman is sick, but that's a whole other story. Heartland is out, or not out, but is coming as well. It will be in Silver Creek. That's going to be a free to play game coming to everywhere from what I can see, but no date was given. Scott, Heartland is. I'm hoping it's going to pull a lot of us in, a lot of us back, and it looks very interesting to me. From there, we got on the mobile side when it comes to the Division to talk about Resurgence. This is their take with the Dark Zone now coming in as well, which has me again mobile, dude. Like I've been looking for a mobile game to kind of pull me in. PUBG Mobile was my biggest one, of course. But for me, ever since then, I haven't really had one that's kind of stuck around. But if I can go in, get my loot, get out, and do the Division loop. I might be down, and I might even convince my wife to play.
You're actually very into mobile, which is kind of surprising, just being on the inside of the team here, because I thought that was kind of Nate. Nate's the one who experienced Call of Duty Mobile and kind of put me onto it as well. So that doesn't excite me very much, but the next topic actually does here.
Dude, let's do it. Rainbow Six Siege coming to mobile. Dude, that is a big move. You already pre-registered during the live stream.
Yeah.
Right?
As soon as I saw it come up, pre-register now for this, I thought, okay, well, out of curiosity alone, I have to experience it. And if there's going to be any mobile game that brings me in, a shooter, it's going to be this one.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much this will take away from my actual Siege gameplay versus playing on mobile. So it's coming to Android first. They are working on the iOS aspect of it, but right now it's going to Android. You will get a closed beta. Dude, closed beta starts today. We should be in. We should be taking a look for that. You're going to get Bank, Border, and Clubhouse. 3 maps to get started. All OG maps. Border did get a rework if you are up to snuff and up to par with what's going on in Siege. So I'm curious to see if that's what they bring over. Very excited to jump in though. I definitely want to take a look, see how that goes. Then
it's going to be extremely ambitious. So I'm hoping it all pans out properly. We don't have technical bugs on the under the hood.
No, we don't. No. So it's I'm excited. I'm curious to see how that goes. then they got a big old partnership with Netflix, like a massive partnership going on there. Valiant Hearts 2 is coming, Mighty Quest, and an Assassin's Creed game and TV series in 2023. Please do not screw up my TV series for Assassin's Creed, because I will be there day in and day out for Assassin's Creed. Definitely one of my favorite.
Not much of a fan of the movie that
movie
came out.
sucked.
I still haven't seen it, but
Just don't. Unfortunately, it's it doesn't. Nope.
That wasn't produced by Netflix, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. I'm not sure.
It may even predate. It was quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
And Netflix has a bad track record of taking beloved franchises and
killing it.
Well, they put out something for everybody, but that's not what the series was about. I'm speaking on anime, so I'm going to hold this to a different standard.
Brad says they'll cancel it after season 1, citing budget constraints. Like they've done to every other new show. I get it. Hopefully they don't. Assassin's Creed is a massive franchise, man. So don't screw that up. They then announced season 3 of Mythic Quest. Not interested in that whatsoever. They did announce, though, Ubisoft Plus is free until October 10th, which will then also get you Skull and Bones. I'm going to check that out, Scott. I really want to check that out. I'm going to get Skull and Bones regardless, but I want to check out Ubisoft Plus. I got to go back and play Rogue. It's the only Assassin's Creed game I have not finished, so I might get it that way.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, dude, that's what I keep hearing is how good it was, right? So I have the 360 version, but I'm hoping they did a remaster of it too, so I want to play the remaster.
It up. Yeah, I think it's the 360 one. I believe that was it came out at the same time as Black Flag.
It
so
did.
You can kind of you know what to expect there, but if you know the timeline, or try to know the timeline, because it's quite unknowable actually across these Assassin's Creed games. Rogue kind of ties many of them together. You're going to see a lot of characters that you know.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Trackmania was announced coming to console and cloud in 2023. 280,000 tracks were created by fans. Lots of content to keep you going in there. That is nuts. Rocksmith Plus was talked about. Just Dance was also talked about. And this is kind of where we started falling asleep.
This is where you hit the low.
Dude, I'm like, we are now at the midway point, because you can always tell here comes all the fluff, right? It's just kind of like, I get it. They have to showcase these games. A lot of people love these games. Just Dance is massive.
They're
not
there
for me.
for somebody.
Exactly. It just doesn't hit home for me. What did hit home, though, buddy, it was Assassin's Creed Mirage coming in 2023. Looks, this is a trip down memory lane, going back, that feel of going back to AC1, AC2, and I am pumped. I am so excited for this game. I cannot wait. It was a CG trailer, which I was kind of like, crap. Okay, I get it, but I'm very looking forward to getting back into that old school thief experience.
In Baghdad, correct? And that
absolutely,
that
with
is
Basim.
just, it seems like they want to do one solid city instead of continental America, as I keep saying it.
Thank goodness.
But the maps just get way too big, in my opinion, in the last 3 games. There's nothing wrong with that much content. It's just a little bit too much for myself.
Dude, I was
keep
back
in mind, though, we kill games
night
on a weekly basis.
Well, so if you are one of some people who go and this is my game for the year, right? And they buy maybe half a dozen games, and that's what they play. Assassin's Creed can keep you going for hours, and that's the biggest thing. For me, I'm 120 hours now into Valhalla. I keep plugging away. I took out another target last night. I'm like, so I'm there's the order, and you're taking out some of these targets, right? And that's one of my favorite things to do. But you got to go find clues to find out where they are to go get them. And some of that now is taking more time. So I was like, and then I jumped in. I also jumped into...
Not the same as before, where you're not sitting on a park bench listening or anything.
Not at all. No, now you got to find these clues and then get little snips of information, and then will lead you to your target. So for me, then last night I even jumped in the DLC to play the Forgotten Saga, because I wanted to grind out, because I wanted memories, which then allows you to get in-game currency, more or less, to spend on stuff for the other world, like your Raventhorpe scenario and stuff. So I bought myself a killer Raven. It looks sick. So I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan.
Oh, you're in now. 120 hours in. You better just see that off.
So I finished the campaign. 120 hours in. Campaign is done. Well, what do they now announce? The last chapter for Valhalla. This will wrap up everything. Because when the game ended, I was like, I didn't even know I was done. That was the biggest thing for me. Dude, I didn't even... No credits, no nothing. Game wasn't finished. I was like, what's going on here? And they're like, you're done.
It's the last chapter. it's the last chapter, but it's not the final chapter. And I'm wondering if
I
that
don't.
leaves room for just one more.
Well, so there's a lot more in the works. So this is when it turned into the Assassin's Creed showcase, right? We get out of Just Dance, that ends, and all of a sudden, boom, Ubisoft's like, all right, we're going to go now to Assassin's Creed, the world of Assassin's Creed. 15 years of Assassin's Creed. Dude, I've been there since day one, right?
I think I got it that Christmas. I believe I opened it up. Could be the following one, but I'm in there just about as long.
Yeah, so I've followed every single game. I've beat almost all but Rogue at this point, and I've even dabbled with some of the mobile stuff. Well, there's a lot more
But
coming.
the Chronicles, though. Have you done the Chronicles?
Sure did. I played them on my Vita, dude. I played them on the PlayStation Vita.
I think I'm missing the Russian one. That's the only one.
Nope, I did it. I think they even came to console at one point too.
Yeah, that's how I played them.
After the last chapter, though, that sounds to me like it's going to wrap up a lot of the questions I had going into the end of what. Dude, the only reason why I knew I finished Valhalla was because I got an email saying, "Hey, congrats, you finished this campaign of Valhalla." I was like, "What?" That was such a weird. Where's the credits?
There may have been an achievement that popped.
Well, dude, I might have looked at my phone or something. I don't know. Who knows? So it's one of those things. So now when you hear what's kind of happening here, I'm like, okay, finally, this is gonna wrap up the rest of where like all my questions. And I went, yo. When that ended, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm done, but now I'm questioning this, and this. The last chapter, which sounds like is the final chapter in my eyes, will wrap up the Valhalla saga, which then will get us ready to go for 2023 Mirage. But they also brought out a bunch of other stuff. AC is also going mobile, not only on Netflix, but to a whole other mobile platform. And AC mobile game set in ancient China, codenamed Jade. For the first time ever, Scott, you'll be able to create your own assassin.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, actually.
Dude,
that's something that I've been thinking and drawing myself of since I was a child. The idea that I could put myself in Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a big move, right? It's for the first time we'll be able to create our very own assassin. I've always been able to customize our assassins, but we've never been able to create our own from the ground up. I think that's something that has me very, very excited to see where I can then manipulate what pieces of gear, what my actual character looks like, sounds like, and all this other stuff, and then take it on the go.
And set in ancient China, I'm wondering if this will directly mingle with the Chronicles title.
Well, maybe.
I thought her name was perhaps Jade.
I think
there's so many assassins, it's hard to remember, really.
Well, it's 15 years and like 20 games or 30 games at this point or something like that. Again, it's nuts. But
some of them have two main characters as you go along.
Yep. Syndicate, right? You had Evie Fry and then Jacob Fry. And then even right now with Valhalla, you can go the male or female version of Eivor. And it's kind of up to you which way. You can flip them on the fly, which is weird, but either way.
How do they run that? Do you just wake up and then suddenly it's different? Because that'd be a really funny way of making
it kind of more or less. You just I don't know. It's again, I'm always the female character, so what can I say? It is what it is. Dude, they also went from there. They talked about a TV series coming in development, a separate game in development now for Netflix as well, because Netflix has gone into the gaming side, more on the mobile side of things.
It seems so bizarre to me, but at the same time, why not?
Yeah, right. So that's the biggest thing there. And then from there, we got to take a look at what's coming next. And I think this is the biggest thing with what's happening is we'll be finally getting something fans have been requested for years. It is now AC codename Red, set in feudal Japan. The RPG element is back. Because when we go to Mirage, we're losing all of the stuff we've kind of been known to get as of the recent AC games with the RPG elements. That won't be there for Mirage, which kind of has me excited, to be honest.
I'm actually really excited about taking that out because that's the Assassin's Creed that I'm really happy with. That's the ones I enjoyed the most. Yeah, the latest three are amazing games. I don't mean to take away from that, but it's just not exactly my style. The way I like to put it, if a hidden blade gets under the armor, that should be it, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. And a headshot's a headshot in my eyes too, right? And that's the biggest thing.
imagine Hitman. If you were to, screwdriver meets ear and they get back up, that doesn't happen.
I'm coming for you. Yeah, this doesn't work that way, right? So new game in development. Here's the biggest thing: no dates on any of this stuff, right? That was the biggest.
Yeah.
Even Mirage doesn't have a date. It just says 2023. So there's that. But dude, they weren't done there. They also talked about codenamed Hexy, which is another Assassin's Creed game. And I was just like, okay, we're still going here for Assassin's Creed, which is cool.
There wasn't too much of a hint as to what Hexa means yet.
Yeah, they didn't go into any detail about Assassin's Creed Red or Assassin's Creed Hexy. Right now, their main focus is Mirage, getting that out for next year, right? So
Hexy had the it's a dark forest kind of thing. The leaves are falling.
Yes.
And they showed the symbol. That was about the only hint you get. I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, okay, is this a coniferous forest? Is this a deciduous forest? Is there any hints here that give me? There's no snow, for example. That kind of eliminates parts of the world.
I'm curious how big it is, though, right? Like, what are we getting into now that they're going back to Mirage, going back to the old school Assassin's Creed? Is that where Hexy is? Because Assassin's Creed Red is set in the RPG element space again, right? So that's gonna be a lot bigger. Feudal Japan's gonna be huge. How far out are we?
Two different series, perhaps, of Assassin's Creed, in the way that Call of Duty has always had Black Ops kind of as a spin-off.
Well, so then that's going to bring us to what they did next, was talk a very little about Assassin's Creed Infinity and what that looks like. So to me, okay, so when they first talked about it, when it first started leaking out, it sounded like this was a games of service model, right? Dude, it doesn't sound like that's the case in my eyes. Assassin's Creed Infinity sounds like more of a platform of a hub world, which allows you then to go out and pick and choose what Assassin's Creed you want to jump into.
Yeah,
now it's a little bit different.
The question
right?
arises, well, why do you want to do that? Why is that necessary? And I'm not certain I have an answer other than this might be a way of repackaging in over time and perhaps adding more content along the way. They haven't spoken in any detail on it, so it is really hard to tell. But I have an example in Battlefield that I can look at where if you load up Battlefield 1, Hardline, or 5, I believe, they all open with the same menu. So you can pick between the two without having to go to the dashboard. And again, there's not a huge benefit to that. So I'm not certain what the angle is here.
I'm very curious, right, as to how that looks. So yeah, it kind of comes up. There's Red, there's Hexy. Maybe you'll have Valhalla too, and then Mirage over here, and you just kind of cycle through this menu, pick which one you want to play.
Or the next announcement immediately after this one is maybe that's what I'm thinking it's for. So if there's a hub world where you can go to different Assassin's Creed games, well, what if there were a new Assassin's Creed game that they haven't talked about? Or rather, a multiplayer mode that's coming back?
Well, they did mention that they are looking at the multiplayer. Finally, dude, the multiplayer might actually make a return. This is something that I was like, yo, I'm so down. My favorite multiplayer of all time was Brotherhood. Like, of all time, dude, that Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I spent so many hours in the multiplayer space. I'm hoping they can figure out how to slow it down a bit, because at one point everybody just started running all over the map and it kind of loses that stealth assassin experience, right? Exactly.
It's like when people play Siege as a Call of Duty game. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. So if they can slow it down with Siege, dude, I think they can figure out a formula to do the same thing here with Assassin's Creed. So yeah, we could have a hub world which will feature all of the Assassin's Creed games, perhaps, right? Just kind of like Ubisoft Plus, how they're experiencing and have everything at the menu right there. Dude, it's like Stadia, right? You flip through your phone, everything's just there, and you tap and away you go. I'm kind of wondering if that's what they're doing here with Assassin's Creed, now that they have so many titles, whether it's mobile, whether it's console, whether it's PC, whether it's just years and years of games, and then multiplayer aspect as well.
That's going to take way too long.
Oh, dude, there's so many games. Yeah, there's a lot going on, Scott. But yeah, dude, the overall showcase for me really kind of ended with all of the Assassin's Creed news, and that's what had me excited versus kind of the beginning of the show. It was just kind of a lot slower.
It was a good way to leave off. There's things that were not talked about. Beyond Good and Evil did not come up at all, and I almost think that's better at this point because there's nothing for them to show.
No, there isn't. But Scott, just like that, buddy, it's another show. That has been ITG Daily. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us You can always join us live at 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday, over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.